Welcome to episode number 1 of the Pioneers Tutoring and Speech podcast called Your Child is Not the Problem. Every episode, we sit down with people who are experts in their field who are turning struggling kids into confident learners. Today, we're joined by Hannah, who is the head of HR at Pioneers Tutoring and Speech. Let's get into it. So, Hannah,
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks.
So, Hannah, my understanding is you're over HR.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably a big role considering it relies so heavily, Pioneers does, on quality of tutors and
Mm,
specialists and whatnot.
for sure.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's a non-negotiable at Pioneers? So something that you wouldn't budge on. Like this is
Mm.
something that is absolutely non-negotiable. Yeah, what would you say that is?
I would say one thing that Gabby taught me was to think about yourself as a kid and who you would want to teach you or, help you through things that you're learning and stuff like that. And it's really stuck with me for sure. And, anyone who we get through, I'm always like, gosh, if I was a kid, would I really want this person? You know what I mean? And I think that even though every child is different and we all have different personalities, I think one thing that never changes with kids is they want someone who's fun and they want someone who's not going to make them wrong. Because even as adults, we don't like to be wrong. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
I think that whenever I'm, hiring someone, I'm always thinking like, would they be good with me if I was a kid? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the viewpoint that I take. And obviously, warm and energetic is a really big one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was Hannah as a kid?
That's a good question. I think that I was very extroverted actually, but I think it would vary as well. So sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't, but I think the point of, not wanting to get the question wrong or being scared to put up my hand was definitely a really big thing. I was very much so a perfectionist as a kid. I always wanted to be first and win and things like that. So obviously that comes with, being afraid to fail. So I think that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's a big one, like not being afraid to fail and
Mm.
creating an environment within the session
Mm.
in order for a child to feel like that, I think is
Yeah,
key.
for sure.
So how do you differentiate? Say you've got 2 applicants,
Mhm.
right? And one of the applicants very technically proficient,
Mhm.
right? On paper,
Yeah.
very qualified, years of experience. And then you've
Mhm.
got one that is not so qualified.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate between the two, and what do you feel is a better fit for Pioneers that
Mm.
may be a controversial opinion or an unpopular one?
Sure. I think that technical qualifications are definitely like the floor, not the ceiling. So, we want them to obviously have the experience, have the qualifications, but it's definitely not the be all or end all. We want someone that is willing to learn, um, but also someone that has that care too. Because, you can train someone on the program that we deliver, but you can't teach someone to be nice and care for kids, you know what I mean? So I think that's such a big thing because, yeah, we really want someone that, we're putting our trust in the tutors and the people that we hire that they're going to look after these kids that we're signing up because we don't really have much oversight in the sessions that they take. So that's another viewpoint that I take because they do the sessions just with the kid. We're not watching the sessions. They're not in a center that we have, so that's definitely a really big thing too.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think that's key because, you know, doing it virtually has its benefits.
Yeah,
Being online, you can create a platform where you can reach. I know Pioneers works with a lot of kids in rural environments
exactly.
where access to in-person tutoring is a problem or in-person specialists is a problem.
Hmm.
There's large wait lists and everything else. So
Yeah.
access is really good. But then you have a situation with like, who's regulating this stuff? Like, how do we know that um, the people that we put in front of the students are the
Hmm.
people they say they are?
Mm.
So what's the process for you in trying to figure that out about someone?
Yeah, for sure. So we do a very in-depth, I guess, interview and screening process before they get hired. And then once they're hired, they go through our whole training as well. So it's definitely very in-depth. We ask a lot of questions around, what's their approach if it's similar to ours, because obviously we're trying to, I guess, live out what Gabby's whole philosophy is, and even before they do the first interview, we send them a whole bunch of videos of Gabby and her teaching. And I think one of the first questions we usually ask is, oh, what did you think of the videos? Do you feel like that approach is something that is similar to your own and things like that? So it really is very much so we're trying to get people that are just so similar in that way that they want to help kids in a very solution orientated mindset that, as we always speak about, the kids are not the problem and that the school obviously hasn't worked for them for a reason, right? So we want to give them something different. So that's a really, really big thing as well
Mm.
within that process that I look for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And is there a certain like belief system that the specialists or the tutors or even the admin staff need to have with regard to children that makes them a good fit for the company?
Yeah, definitely. For sure, a whole child mindset is usually commonly used in the industry, or a lot of the people that come through use, I guess, that approach, or that's what I look for as well. So it's a very holistic approach, looking at all different parts of their lives, what they might be going through, not even just the academic side, but, their confidence and things like that. Like, even sometimes I speak about, like, in the interview, that we're here to help kids, make sure that they can send a text message if they need help or things like that. You know what I mean? Like, literacy is such a wide scope in terms of it helps you in everyday life. You know what I mean? Like, I think one time in an interview, I gave an example to this lady, like, what if a kid's parents didn't come to get them at pickup time, right? And they're just sitting there and they don't know how to send a text message. They can't write, right? And they're just sitting there and it's like, what would they do? So I think that's another really important thing that I always think of too, in terms of, really helping the kids in that other aspect as well, not really just academics.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then, when you're a parent and
Mm,
you're looking at a tutor or a specialist and you're looking to hire somebody, you've probably got two things in your mind.
mm,
One would be, well, the availability of the specialists. We
mm,
need to make sure that they can work with the child within the timeframes that we have. And number two would be the qualifications,
mm,
right? We'll probably hear that a lot, right?
yeah.
So what are some things that parents wouldn't ask for, but you've noticed are really important traits, beliefs, characteristics
Mm,
of the specialists
yeah.
that you go, this is absolutely required for
Yeah.
the quality of service that we provide?
Mm. Patience, I think, for sure. Lots of people underestimate how much patience is needed for kids who are so behind. So I definitely think that as a really, really big one. But then also being calm and showing that warmth and energy in the sessions as well. Because, you can have a bachelor's degree, a master's in it as well, and 20 years of experience. But if you can't connect with the child that's in front of you, they're just going to make no progress. So that's definitely a really, really big thing that I look for sure.
Yeah, cool. And once someone is hired, so you've picked this person, you go,
Mm,
okay, cool. We, from everything we've seen so far, we can place a good bet that this person's going to be the right fit for
mhm.
Pioneers. Beyond that point, how do how do you make sure that they keep representing Pioneers in the fashion that we would want, or like are a good example of what Pioneers embodies?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do think the training that they go through is very, very in depth, and it really goes through exactly what Gabby's approach is, which I think is so important. And a lot of them, we get a lot of really great feedback around the training. And that I think even recently we had someone say that, they've just done a whole degree and they've been in early childhood and they've learned so much, they started using it with their own kids, the things that we went over in the training. So I think even that is just so powerful in itself. But I think as well, we always stay in good communication with the staff too around, any issues that they're having. And it's even though we're all telehealth and online, I feel like, you have such a good rapport even with the staff that we get online too. Even in the interviews, you will have a really great chat, sorry, with someone that, you might not even know. But yeah, I just think that communication is just a really big one. And, you know, they obviously are delivering the service, but we're sort of overseeing it and helping it as well. So I think I guess we work together in a good way.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And do you remember a candidate that looked good on paper? Like everything sort
Mm.
of checked out, when you received that resume
Yeah.
and you read it and you're like, okay, cool, this looks really good.
Hmm.
But you turned them down anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah. What gave it away for you?
Sure. I think I definitely thought to myself, oh gosh, like, would I really like this person if I was a little kid? And I was like, maybe not. But I think also, like, one thing that I noticed is sometimes really common is people saying that they have really, really high expectations for the kids. And, whilst high expectations in academically in that sense, is good, it's not, I guess, that whole thing that we're looking for as well. We're looking to build their confidence, help them communicate better, and just, have better lives in general. So I think that whilst, people saying that they have really high expectations for the kids and they expect a lot from the kids, it's definitely something that I look at and think, we really more so want someone that has that whole child approach.
Yeah, totally. And I think this is important because obviously coming into this, a lot of the people that sign up to Pioneers, if they heard about it through a friend, that's great. But for a lot
Yeah.
of them, it's their first experience with
Mm.
us.
Yeah.
So that naturally lends itself to, well, now I have to trust a stranger on a screen.
For sure.
What would you want them to know about that person that's been put through that hiring and training line that you've set up
Mhm.
that you would want them to know before they even sit down with that tutor or specialist?
Yeah, I think that we as a company and as a team are very certain that they'll deliver a really good service to their kids and, that they care for sure. Caring is such a really big factor in our sessions that I think everyone that we've hired, has this obvious care and purpose to help kids. You know what I mean? A lot of the teachers that come through as well, they've, stopped classroom teaching because they couldn't feel like they could help enough kids. So they've moved into one-on-one teaching so that they can really, help these kids and, see them succeed as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that. Okay, good. So then we ask this last question
Yeah.
to all our guests,
Hmm.
and that is, what does this phrase mean to you?
Hmm.
Your child is not the problem.
Mm. I think that kids are so beautiful. They're full of so much energy, and often, um, it gets dampened or lessened the older they get. And I think that specifically, with having learning difficulties and, even behavioral issues as well, it's definitely not something that is a problem whatsoever. It just needs to be worked out and, them just to be helped.
That's beautiful. I think we'll leave it there.